This video will show you how to replace the tensioner pulley on a Cadillac CTS with a 3.6 liter engine. This will be located on the front of your engine. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. To gain access to the belt, we're going to do a little digging. Let's start by removing the upper engine cover. To remove the upper engine cover, first you have to remove the engine oil cap. Take hold of that, we'll turn it counterclockwise. Once you have it removed, just a quick inspection of the seal. If it looks like it's damaged, you're going to want to replace that. I'm going to continue on taking hold of the engine cover. We'll lift it up and out of position. Reinstall the engine oil cap. We don't want anything making its way inside the engine oiling system. Now we want to continue making our way down in this area. So what we need to do next is prepare to remove the air inlet tube. If you are looking down along this area, next to where your power steering reservoir is, you can see that there's a small tube and a hose that leads down to this. I'm giving it a wiggle and lifting it up and out of place. Of course, once it's disconnected, just a quick inspection. We want to make sure it's not damaged in any way. This does look good, so I'm going to set it aside. Now to continue removing this, we have two clamps that we have to loosen. There's one up along the top near our throttle body, and there's one down a little lower next to the air filter housing. Let's start up top. To loosen these clamps, you can either use a flat blade screwdriver or an 8mm. I'm using an 8mm socket. Loosen the clamp enough that you can slide it out of place. Let's make our way to the next clamp. Let's take hold of that, slide it out of place. Just a quick inspection, you can see exactly where that hose was located. We'll set this aside. Now we can make our way down in this area. Now as we make our way down in this area, we can see where our AC belt tensioner is and the pulley. We're going to have to release tension from the belt tensioner so we can remove the belt from around this area to eventually remove the tensioner. For this, if you are looking at that belt tensioner, you can see that we have a square notch. For this, we're just using a 1/2-inch drive extension and a ratchet. You can use a serpentine belt tool if necessary. With that slid into position, we can turn this clockwise. As you see, it pivots. That releases tension from the belt. Now we can slide the belt off of pretty much any of these pulleys. Whichever one's easiest for you. I'm making my way all the way down to the bottom pulley. Let's remove our tool. Now moving straight up from where we just were with our tool, you can see the mounting bolt holding our tensioner in place. We'll use a 15mm to start loosening this bolt and removing the tensioner from the engine. Now that we have that out of place, let's get this over to the bench. Okay, so we have the tensioner on the bench. We're looking at what would be the inboard side. This is where we can see the mounting hardware holding our pulley in place. Use a 13mm. Remove the pulley. There it is, friend. Let's make sure we clean and inspect the tensioner. This looks good. Okay, let's compare the brand new pulley to the original. We want to make sure we have the same exact diameter and the same width. Let's get this in place. After inspecting that, let's prepare to install that pulley. We'll make sure we have it in the proper orientation. Slide it down into place. We have our protective shield and our 13mm mounting bolt. Once you have that started in, go ahead and snug it up. We'll make sure it's nice and tight. Double check to make sure the pulley spins as it should. Let's get this in the vehicle. Now before we install our part, let's make sure we clean the mounting area. I'm just going to use a clean rag. I don't want to use any detergents which might make their way onto my serpentine belt. Now that I have that clean, just a quick look down in this area. In the center, you can see that mounting port for our mounting bolt. As we look down diagonally towards the center of the engine, we can see there's another port. That's an alignment port for our alignment tab on the tensioner itself. So we'll just have a quick look at the tensioner. In the center, you have the bolt port, and then we have this tab that protrudes up. That's the alignment tab that fits into that port on the engine. Now with that said, let's take our mounting bolt. We're going to slide it through the port all the way through. Let's get this in place on the engine. Now typically when I bring this down, I started my mounting bolts first. Obviously, we'll have to pivot the tensioner into the proper placement before fully tightening this and eventually torquing it to 37 foot-pounds. Pivot that. There we go. That settles right in. Let's tighten that mounting bolt. I've got my torque wrench, 37 foot-pounds. We'll take hold of the tensioner, confirm it does feel like it's secured properly in place. It should not move around in any way. Now we can prepare to install our AC belt. When we go to get this in position, of course it has to be in the proper orientation and routing, but when we do so, you're going to find that some of the pulleys are smooth pulleys, which would be the backing side of the belt. Other pulleys are going to have some grooves in them, and that's for the ribbed portion of the belt. As far as those ribbed portions, everything needs to be seated perfectly so you don't damage the belt. So we're just going to try to make sure that the belt is seated on the ribs that it needs to be on first, at least on some of these pulleys. Now I'm going to bring this down and around the tensioner pulley here. At this point, we're going to make our way back inside of this small square groove. We'll be pivoting this clockwise just as before. Once we have plenty of looseness from the belt, we'll take hold of the lower portion of the belt and bring it up and over our idler pulley. Start bringing the belt up on here. Now I'm going to release pressure from the tensioner, but typically I leave the tool in place while I inspect the belt, confirming it's seated on each one of the pulleys properly. As I mentioned before, if it's off by even one tooth, you're going to cause damage to the belt and potentially other damage as well. I'm just going to make my way around all these pulleys here. All the way up along the power steering pump. This looks good. Now obviously if yours was off a little bit, just make any adjustments as necessary and remove the tool when you're done. One last quick inspection in this area, and let's continue on to the installation of our air inlet system. Now as far as this air inlet, we're going to bring it down into position. We'll slide it onto the air filter housing. We'll slide it onto the throttle body. I'm pressing this all the way up against the throttle body as far as possible. While holding pressure, I'm going to tighten my clamp. Double check, make sure that's secured in place. Make our way down to the next clamp. We're pressing that onto the air filter housing. When tightening these clamps, you want to ensure that they do not strip or skip a tooth. If they do, you need to replace them. You don't want any dirty air making its way inside of the engine. Now we have our line with our hose at the end. That's going to slide down along the back side of this inlet. Press it down on as far as possible. Now just give it a little tug. It should not slide out of place. If it does, you can use a small wire tie if necessary. This looks good. Now we'll continue on with our engine cover. To install the engine cover, remove your engine oil cap. Counterclockwise for that. Now as we bring the cover into place, we're going to rest it along the top of the engine. You're going to find that there's a port on the cover. It needs to fit flush with this. Now once you feel as though you have it rested on there, and it's as straight as possible, everything else should be pretty much aligned. We're going to continue on by pressing this down into the fully seated position. We'll double check to make sure it's secure. Reinstall the engine oil cap. Make sure that's secure as well so no moisture or debris make its way inside your engine oiling system. Okay friend, we finished our installation. Now the next thing we have to do is make our way inside of the passenger compartment. You're going to start the vehicle and let it run for approximately 5 seconds. After that, turn it right back off. You're going to make your way back out here and triple check the belt, confirming that it's seated on each one of the pulleys properly and in the proper routing. Aside from that, you can go ahead and close the hood and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.